بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سنة Bibi Zainab Salamu Alaiha. I welcome all of you, O lovers of Maula Ali. I give you my Mubarak on this fine day, on this blessed day, on the days of days, on the best of days. I give you my Mubarak. We have very many reasons to be happy today, not all of which I shall mention on the pulpit. Some are for you to know. You have to find out on your own. And some I will mention as I am sitting here. One major reason why we are happy today is because today officially marks the day where Imam-e-Zamana became the official Imam of our time. Yesterday was Shahadat, and today is the glad tidings of Imam-e-Zamana, Imam Mahdi Akhul-Zaman, being our Imam. Mawla says, when there is a sad occasion, then be sad, and when there is a happy occasion, then be happy. So Mawla Imam-e-Zamana being now the Imam of our time is a reason to be happy. So for this we shall be happy. Another reason why we are happy today is because of Eid al-Zahra. Eid means festivity, and then the festivity of Bibi Pak Salam Alaiha. It is also known as Eid al-Shuja, which means the Eid of the courageous. It is also known as Farat al-Zahra, and Farat means delight. So it is the delight of Bibi Fatima Zahra, today's events, and today is the delight of Bibi Fatima Salam Alaiha. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. What a beautiful day. This day marks the end of our mourning period. Yes, kullu yawmin ashura, kullu arzin Karbala. But this day marks the end of our mourning period. We mourned for approximately 2 months and a little more. Why is this now a time to rejoice? Because your Imam today smiled. Which Imam smiled? Imam Sajjad alayhi salam smiled today. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I am reciting this majlis specifically for my children. So come here to the front. Because my children, how you did Azadari, how you observed the mourning period for 2 months and then some, you do not even know the rewards from your Lord. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Why did Mawla Sajjad smile today? Because of one very brave man, a very beloved man of Ahlul-Bayt, who got revenge for the events in Karbala. And you have heard his name before. His name is Mukhtar. And Mukhtar suffered and struggled, such an immense struggle. It took him 6 to 7 years to achieve this, which means 6 to 7 years your Imam did not smile. After 6 or 7 years, when Mukhtar completed his mission, and he separated the heads from the bodies of the sinners who hurt Imam Hussein and his family. And then Mukhtar presented this to Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. Then for the first time, Mawla, after 6 or 7 years, smiled. And this smile means so much to us that we are sitting here today, adorned and happy, rejoicing, reciting Qaside, because your Mawla smiled.
Nare Haidari.
Ya Ali, Ya Ali, Madad. When the Mukhtar presented the heads of the sinners, then here are a few things that Mawla said. Bismillah. Mawla Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam said, "Praise be to Allah who has taken revenge on our enemies and revealed the truth." Mawla said, "O Allah, to you, salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad."
Your Imam, when the heads arrived, the first thing your Imam did was go down and sajda. The chance of Mawla, or the likelihood of Mawla not being in sajda, was a rarity in itself. So when the heads arrived, Mawla first did sajda, and then Mawla said, "O Allah, to you belongs all praise and thanks for your blessings in avenging the oppressors. O Allah, you have made us taste the sweetness of victory over the oppressive people. May Allah grant Mukhtar the best of rewards, for he avenged us and brought peace to our hearts. These are the heads of the tyrants who wronged the family of the Messenger of Allah. Allah has brought them to us, so to him belongs all praise and grace. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad." So these are the obvious reasons, the public reasons why we are celebrating this day. Then there are the hidden reasons. They're for you to find out. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Not all people are made from the same clay. The Shia of Mawla Ali are made from the clay of the seventh heaven. And the enemies, the haters of Mawla Ali, they are made from the material that hell is made from. They're made from that material. So if you are the Shia of Ali and you are the lover of Ali, then do shukr for this, that you are made from the mati, from the earth that is from the seventh heaven. Salawat. My children, you guys cried, you attended Majlis, you guys did Matam, you guys mourned your Imam. And you think that your tears are all in some tissue that ended up in the trash can. That is not the truth. Angels come and they collect all of your tears and they take them to Jannat, and all of the tears that were cried for your Imam are collected over there in Jannat. Salam. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Before I read a passage from this beautiful book, I'm going to tell you the title: The Glad Tidings of Mustafa for the Shia of Murtaza. And there is a reason I'm telling you this title. I'm telling you a small story. As I was preparing for this majlis, I was noticing that it's increasingly difficult to find information on this day. The information that I had easily found on the internet 10 years ago was nowhere to be found on the internet today. and I looked hard. And the last time, 10 years ago, where I looked, there was so many beautiful sayings on this day, that this is the day where you should not participate in your work. You should not do anything except spend time with your family and celebrate. It is a day to rejoice. Mawla says this is a day of joking. You should joke on this day. This is a day of gift giving. You should give each other gifts. And not even one farman did I find on the internet like this at this point. We think that, no, we know that the enemies that we face today are so much tougher than the enemies from the past. Because the enemies of the past were obvious enemies. They did not hide their hatred. They were open about it. They questioned the Prophet or the Imams to their face again and again. There was no doubt. They would walk away when the Prophet would speak or when the Imam would speak. They did not hide their animosity. The enemies of today, they are hidden. And they are the same enemies that are hiding the truth or that are hiding this beautiful or perfect information. They're also online. They're also in the books. It is becoming harder and harder to find the truth and the information. So I cannot emphasize enough, buy books. Buy books as much as you can. And preferably not something that someone has already partially digested. Buy books that are direct sayings from your imams, that are directly taking from the Quran and explaining the Quran. Don't buy people's opinions and then start reading. They are doing to the Shia religion. The Shias are doing to the Shia religion what the Sunnis are doing to the Sunni religion. If someone knows the truth and from the Sunni religion, or they suspect the truth, and then they confront their leaders or they confront others, then they get shunned. They're no longer allowed to come to that mosque. They immediately call you a kafir. One such question is just, did Bibi Fatima salamu alayha get her haq, her right, when she came to Abu Bakr or not? Alone this question, for this question, other Sunnis will say, you are no longer a Sunni, get out from here. So what the Sunnis are doing to the Sunnis, the Shias are doing to the Shias. So be very careful. Do not rely that the information will always be available. Go and get some books. Salawat. 61. Muhammad. Now, we talked a little bit about your precious tears that you cried for your Imam that are not forgotten. They are in Jannat. While you are doing the things that you do, the angels are there. They can see your tears. Your Imams are everywhere. They see them when you cry, and they see them up there in Jannat. They're being collected and they're there. Some of the Mu'mineen had the privilege of going to Ziyarat or do the Arba'in walk. About that, I would like to read from this book. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Imam Jafri Sadiq alayhi salam said, Allah has not created any creation greater in number than the angels. So the most creations are the angels. Every day, 70,000 different angels come down to do tawaf around Bayt-ul-Mamur. Then they come down and do tawaf around the Kaaba. After which they go to the grave of the Prophet and say salam to him. Then they go to the grave of the commander of the believers, Ali bin Abi Talib, to say salam to him. After which they go to the grave of Hussein alayhi salam and say salam to him. And then they ascend back to the heavens. This will continue until the day of judgment. He who willingly and humbly goes to the ziyarat of the commander of the believers, while knowing his status, will receive the sawab of 100,000 martyrs. His past and future sins will be forgiven. He will be resurrected while feeling safe. And he will have an easy judgment process. Angels will receive him when he comes to do the ziyarat, and when he returns home, angels will escort him all the way to his house. If he gets sick, angels will come and visit him, and if he dies, they will follow him to his grave while seeking forgiveness for him. Those who go to the ziyarat of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, while knowing his status, will receive the sawab of 1,000 accepted Hajj and 1,000 accepted Umrah, and Allah will forgive all of their past and future sins. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. So, my beloved listeners, this year we're going to talk briefly about Hajj. This year, 1.83 million people went to do Hajj. Salawat. And it was all over the headlines that a lot of people died doing Hajj. 1.83 million. 1.83 million people is a lot of people. And approximately 1,000 people died doing Hajj this year. 22 million plus. 22 million plus. Plus why? At some point, these are humans. We lose count. 22 million people went to do Imam Hussein's ziyarat this year. And I looked hard for even one death. But I could not find even one death from 22 million people. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Doing Mawla's ziyarat, there are so many miracles, countless miracles. One I heard about that I want to share with you, simply because of its sweetness. Many leaders of different times, again and again, try to stop the ziyarat of Imam Hussein. And this was again one such evil ruler who kept putting different types of taxes and different kinds of rule and regulations so that people will stop to come to do ziyarat. And every time that he made a new rule, he was surprised to see and hear that the amount of people visiting Mawla Hussein's grave did not decrease. So he wanted to go see for himself, after making countless new rules and regulations, what kind of people are these people who are going to ziyarat? And this ruler saw an old lady hunched over with a bundle on her head, walking slowly to do the ziyarat of Mawla Hussein. And this ruler, he goes to the old lady full of curiosity because she is so old. What could she possibly hope to achieve going to the grave of the grandson of the Prophet? And the ruler stops her and she says, "Oh, old lady, stop." She looks at him, and the first thing she does is she curses the ruler of that time. She didn't know it was him. The first thing she does is "Lanat on so and so." The ruler asks, where are you going? She says, "I'm going to do the ziyarat of Mullah Hussain." And the more the ruler asks and bugs the lady, the more firm her answers get. He says, "You are so old. What if you don't make it there?" She says, "If I don't make it there, then my ziyarat is accepted." He says, "I am that ruler, the one you just cursed." She curses him again. He says, "I can stop you from going there right now." Then she said again, "That's good, because then I will have done my ziyarat and I actually don't have to go, because at this pace, it's still going to take me 2 to 3 months. This made him angry because he felt this not to be true. So he says to his soldiers, "Grab this old lady, take her to the top of that roof." And on the other side of that building was the Euphrates. And he said, "Throw her in the water," because it made him so angry. And they throw the lady in the water. And the sweet old lady, hunched over with the bag on her head, starts walking on the water and comes out on the other side. And this made him more angry. So he says to his soldiers, "What did you do? She's on the other side. She's totally dry. Bring her back and throw her again, and throw her harder." And they do it again. They take her and they throw her in the Euphrates with more anger and more roughness and toughness. And she's just walking across the water, totally dry, comes out on the other side. On the third time, he said, "Throw her more far, more deeper, more. Do as much as you can. Destroy this old lady. You guys are soldiers. Destroy this old woman." On the third time that they threw her, he intended to look really closely. And what does he see? As the old lady is falling, there is a white horse with wings. And that horse has a rider on it. And that rider catches the old lady. And then that person sitting on the horse with Jalal looks at the ruler of the time and says, "I am Abbas, the brother of Hussein. Don't stop this lady again." After that, no one dared to stop that lady again. And the lady went for her ziyarat. Double ziyarat. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad says, "The people who say that they love me but hate Ali, they are liars." Prophet Muhammad says that the people who love me, they hate Ali, these people, when they die, they will not die as a Muslim. They will be raised back up as a Christian or a Jew. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I'm going to give you a small hint to the other reason why today is a very happy day. The rest you really have to find out yourself. On the 9th of Rabi al-Awwal, someone went to visit Mawla Ali. And Mawla Ali alayhi salam came to the door with a wet face, and he was using a cloth to dry his face as he was opening the door. Mawla was dressed handsomely, and he was wearing perfume. And the person visiting said, Ya Mawla, is today a holiday that I do not know about? Is today a Eid? And Mawla Hassan and Mawla Hussain were also dressed nicely and like Mawla Ali alayhi salam. So Mawla Ali says, yes, today is a great Eid. So this is a little hint. If this Eid is already there at the time where Mawla Hassan and Mawla Hussain were young, so find out what is the occasion that this became the great Eid. Salawat. I'm going to read you guys this speech, and then we will commence with the Qasida, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The 9th of Rabi al-Awwal marks a turning point in the history of the Ahlul Bayt al-Islam and their followers. This day is a day of joy and happiness for the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt. The hadith which speaks about this day refers to it as the greatest Eid in the sight of Ahlul Bayt alayhi and those who love and follow them. I want to say one more really important thing. Mawla says that joining us in our sorrow is easier than joining us in our joy. Please think about this and take it to heart. Salawat. Indeed, it is after going through close to 70 days of grief and sorrow in which we commemorate the martyrdom of Imam Hussain alayhi salam and his family and friends in Karbala, and the other martyrdoms which we have marked over this period, including the demise of our 2nd Imam, 4th Imam, 8th Imam, 11th Imam, and of course, our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. That we have finally reached this day of blessing when we can adorn ourselves with the clothing of piety which we have learned from the ceremonies over the past 2.5 months. One particular hadith which speaks of this day tells us that while in gathering with the Prophet of Islam, Imam Ali and his 2 sons Hassan and Hussain alayhi salam, the Prophet, with a smile on his face, said, on this day, Allah will destroy your enemies and the enemies of your grandfather. And it is on this day when Allah will accept the actions of your Shia and those who love you. This is the day when the words of Allah came true, where He said in the Quran, so those are the houses fallen down because they were unjust. And this is the day when the Pharaoh of the time of the Ahlul Bayt was destroyed. On this day, one of the important things which we should bring to mind is the start of the Imamate and leadership of our 12th and living Imam, with the tragic death of his father at such a young age, as we spoke in the beginning. The awaited Savior began the mission of the Imamate on this day and continues even now during the period of the occultation, until Allah permits him to make his advent to establish the universal government of Islam over the entire planet. Salawat. Imam Mahdi is our Imam of our time, and as the Holy Quran says, remember the day of judgment, when we shall call every people with their Imam. We will be called and presented with our Imam on Resurrection Day. Salawat. Friends of Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, should celebrate this day with great happiness. For our joys are with the joys of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and our grief and sorrows are for them alone. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mawla Imam Zamana says, when our Shia feel sadness and suffering, for our sadness and suffering, the reward for that is so great that if our Shias knew about the reward, they would forget their sorrows and suffering. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We are going to go back to the person who visited Mawla Ali on this beautiful day. I gave you a little homework. Find out what was the other reason that we're happy about. And the person asked, Mawla, is today a Jashan? Is today an Eid? And Mawla Ali answered, yes. It is the greatest Eid. At this point, I want to say one more thing. We Shia do not celebrate the Eid after Ramadan and Bakr Eid. And the reason we do not celebrate is because right before or shortly before is a Shahadat. So then why do we celebrate today when yesterday was a Shahadat? And I'm going to give you an answer to that. The Eid in Ramadan, first of all, nothing is more important than the Ahlul Bayt. Mawla Ali became Shaheed in Ramadan. That takes priority over the Eid that occurs afterwards. The Eid at the end of Ramadan is not directly related to the Ahlul Bayt. But Mawla Ali becoming Shaheed is directly related to the Ahlul Bayt. So here the Eid does not take priority over the Shahadat. And the same thing occurs with the next Eid. But here it's a Shahadat, Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam, from the Ahlul Bayt. And Mawla Imam Zamanat, Imamat starts from the Ahlul Bayt. And here we are on equal terms. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. So the guest that came to visit Mawla Ali alayhi salam asked Mawla, what is this day called? And Mawla said, I will tell you the names of this day. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today, 9th Rabi al-Awwal, is the day of Zahra. Today is the day of relaxation. Today is the day of dispelling of adversities. Today is the second Ghadir. Today is the day of shedding of sins. The day of gifts. The day on which pens were raised. The day of guidance. The day of peace. The day of blessings. The day of help. The great Eid of Allah. Today is the day on which prayers are answered. The day of great honor. The day of appointment. The day of conditions. The day of dispelling evil. The day of shame for the unjust. The day of humbleness for the Shias. The day of dispelling of sorrows. The day of victory. The day of the earth. The day of power. The day of expansion. The day of happiness for the Shias. The day of Taraweeh. The day of representation. The day of the great charity. The day of the second fitr. The day of the way of Allah. The day of mouth-watering. The day of satisfaction. The Eid day of Ahlul Bayt. The victory day of children of Israel. The day of acceptance of the deeds of the Shias. The day of offering charities. The day of seeking increments. The day of killing of hypocrites. The day of the appointed time. The day of delight of Ahlul Bayt. The memorable day. The day of the unjust to bite their hands. the day of destruction of deviation, the day of the Nile, the day of the testimony, the day of advancement of the believers, the day of pleasance, the day of passing away the emperor of hypocrites, the day of payback, the day of relief for believers, the day of imprecation, the day of boost, the day of acceptance of deeds, the thin day, the day of thanksgiving, the day of helping the oppressed, the day of visitation, the endearment day, the day of wailing, the day of arrival, the day of blessings, the day of uncovering of innovations, the day of renunciation of major sins, the day of the caller, the day of lesson, the day of worship, the day of Islam, the day of oppression of the enemy, the day of purity, the day of sacrifice, the day of the cow. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. So verily, today is a great day. So celebrate with your family. Join the Ahlul Bayt in their joy as you have joined them in their sorrows. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.